Welcome to the Borderlands, where the roads are muddy, the locals are suspicious, and the Misfits, well, they're doing their best. Paulo Ricardus, a frontier tracker who trusts maps, people, and the concept of sensible decisions in roughly that order. Amalanya, a mystic scholar whose experiments have a 50-50 chance of enlightenment or explosion. She considers both outcomes productive. Musko, a feral scout who can track anything, anywhere, except social cues. Oscar, a flamboyant archer tinkerer whose inventions are either brilliant or catastrophic, sometimes both. Bartholomew, Paulo's long-suffering bodyguard stroke handyman, holding the group and the camp together through sheer dignity. Ariadne, a yeoman with the strength of an ox and the patience of someone who travels with 5 people who should know better. After several days of walking west, mostly in the right direction, the Misfits finally reached Tharian Reach, a land of opportunity, mystery, and, as it turns out, very expensive bridges. They paid 2 gold to cross a perfectly ordinary wooden bridge. 2 gold. Paulo is still muttering about it. In Tharian, they earned 3 gold doing honest work, which is frankly suspicious. No one earns money that easily. They also failed to find any of the contacts they were promised, which is much less suspicious. The town guard captain, a man who radiates "I'm too tired for this," mentioned bandits causing trouble. The Misfits, being both helpful and financially motivated, agreed to investigate. On patrol, they met Costa, a pilgrim who had recently discovered that wandering alone near abandoned farmhouses is a poor life choice. He pointed them towards said farmhouse, still shaking, and possibly from fear, possibly from the smell of Musko. And so the Misfits arrived at the old farmhouse, a charming rural property featuring collapsed walls, suspicious laughter, and a complimentary gang of petty robbers. So, with their courage steeled, their weapons ready, and their collective common sense, well, let's not get carried away. The Misfits approach the farmhouse. Bandits await, trouble brews, and Paulo still wants his 2 gold back. So here we are with our first meeting engagement of the campaign for our 5 leagues from the Borderlands. We've got our Misfits group have finally tracked down the robbers that are chasing the pilgrim that they found along the way. So first of all, we have Bartholomew, who's one of our followers just here. He is armed with a self bow, so he's hopefully going to fire across at some of the robbers. We've got Ariadne, who's a follower with our captain, Paulo Ricardus, who's the leader of the band. He's got partial armour and he's got a war axe, which works as a bastard sword in this. Then we have, tucked in the trees, just in here, we have Amalanya, who's our human mystic, our spellcaster. And then on the far side, over here, we have Musko, who's the feral, and he has a quality weapon, so he's got a bastard sword and he's got a shield as well. And then Oscar in the far part there, he's our preen, birdhead, and he has we're just going to call it a self bow. He's got a crossbow, but we're going to use it as a self bow for the time being. So they're ready to go. Over on this side we've got our robbers. They found some goblins who seem to be the robbers. So you've got 3 here, 3 here, 3 here. Got 2 with short bows, which are going to act as slings. So we're ready to go. We're going to roll the first initiative roll. And we're looking for low numbers, so basically we've got a 1, and the only people going in the quick phase is going to be 1 person, because we're either 1 or 2 on our initiative. So It's agility, isn't it? Yeah, it's agility. So we've got some people who are 2s, but the rest are 1s. So first of all, then we're going to take a shot, I think, first of all. So we're going to give that shot to Bartholomew. So Bartholomew will go in the quick round, and everybody else will go in the slow round after the opponents. So I'm going to pop those on there. So they all know, don't make that 1. So anyone with a 1 is going to go first of all. So we're going to have a shot. So going to roll to hit. So if we are, we're in range here, Bartholomew is going to shoot across at this robber here, and he will need, he's in the open, and so he will need a 5. And there's no, oh, and he's hit with a 6 straight away. So that's he's hit first of all, and their toughness is 3, so he needs a 3, and he will just take the robber out. There you go. First rolls of the campaign. Bartholomew, eagle eye, pings his arrow across and takes out this robber. So we're 1 down. I've actually got 9 robbers. I rolled a 6 for the amount there were, and you add +3, so we've got the maximum amount, but then there's 1 less now. So then it will be the robber's turn to go, because Bartholomew's not going to move. He's going to stay where he is. He could have added his combat bonus because he didn't move, but he doesn't have one, so it doesn't make any difference. So the robber's move is 4. They're going to be out of range at the moment for their sling, so the sling is going to try and get into cover. So he's going to move up behind that wall there to try and get into range, and then going to be followed by his friend, who probably can't quite get into range, get into cover there. Then the one at the back here, he's going to move up, and he's actually going to dash. So this one could have no, you can only move half and take a shot, so they're just moving up. So he's now dashed, so he's moved 4, then 2 inches, and then they're going to do the same, move up to the fence, which will give them cover. And then on this side, we've got the same principle. They'll move up as far as they can into there. So then the rest of our heroes will get to go. So Bartholomew is gone, and we will have our leader is Paulo Ricardus, and he is going to, his move is 4 inches and 3 inches if he dashes, so he's going to go 4 inches, 3 inches, so he'll just go and try and stay in some sort of cover there. And he's going to be followed by, she's actually going to come across this way and stay behind that wall, so she doesn't get shot, hopefully. Now our mystic is going to try and cast a spell, so it's 2d6 for the spell, and she's going to, we're going to say she went before Paulo Ricardus and tried to cast a shield on him. So she needs a 6, she gets a 6, and that means that ranged attacks will only hit on a natural 6 against Paulo Ricardus. So what that does mean is that he would have dashed, and he's coming right up into the face of them. So that's take those away there. Then up at the top end, so we'll keep our mystic in the cover of the trees, and then over on this side we're going to move up to the wall, and then we're going to take a shot. It will be through the window here and across that wall, so we'll say that this one is in cover. So hitting on a 6 for our preen, that's a 1, so no hit from Oscar. Right, so that is the end of that turn. What we have to do, we had 1 casualty, so we roll, and because of the type of cowardice that the opponents have, if we have a 1 to 3, one of the opponents will run away. And it's 4, so they actually all stay there. So we're going to move into turn 2. Right, we're into turn 2 now, so we're going to roll our initiative roll, and this is much better. So we've got a 1 and 2 2s, so we'll be able to use these to have. So Paulo Ricardus is a 2, so we'll make sure that he can go first so he can get into combat. Then we will do the same for Musko, and then the 1 I think will go to Bartholomew as he shot so well last time, and then obviously the others will be higher numbers. Okay, so this is the quick phase. So first of all we're going to go with Paulo Ricardus himself, and he's going to charge into the archer here, and then they're going to fight. So the darker dice is going to be Paulo and the red dice is going to be the archer. There is a 1 combat, +1 combat on Paulo. In fact, no, there isn't. He's +0 at the moment, so it's just a straight roll off. But Paulo is the attacker, but he fails, so then he is knocked back and he becomes the defender in the second round. So he then knocks back and he becomes the attacker in the final round, and he loses that, so he goes back, and that's the end of the round. Inconclusive combat, I think you call that. I think he may be having combat again in a minute. So then we're going to go with Musko, who's going to jump over the fence and into combat here. And same principle. So Musko does have a combat of +1, so he'll have +1 on his dice. So it's a draw, it's a tie, so they both carry on with the combat. Oh, actually a tie does mean that they both back off 1 inch, and that's the end of the combat, so pretty disappointing. And he's going to be a little bit left out on a limb there. So let's have a shot then. So now that Paulo Ricardus is in the way, the shot from Bartholomew is actually probably going to have to go into this one here, and I think I'm going to give him cover for there. So this will be a 6 to hit, and he gets the 6. This guy is unbelievable. So he now needs to beat the toughness of 3, which he does. He just needs to match it. So that then takes out that archer there. So Bartholomew's kills go up to 2. So what a follower he is. And then we're going to move into the enemies phase, and at this point I just need to check whether that archer just here can act, or because he's fought he's already acted. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that this archer can't now act because he's done a melee action in this turn, so that means that he can't now do anything else. But what will happen is this one will charge in, and these two will fight. So this time it's the goblin that's the aggressor, and that's a tie, so they just back off 1 each, and that's the end of that combat. So lots of fighting with very little action. And then Coming around now, this one will come up to here, and I think because he's not quite up to the wall here, he's going to have to come around here, and he's going to be followed as they're trying to now gang up on Paulo Ricardus. Now, do we have a spell? I'll check that in a minute, because we've got the top end, which is going to be lots of combat. So we have first combat coming in here. So the goblin is the aggressor, and the goblin wins. So there is an armor save here, so the armor save is a 3. So he does armor save because he's got the shield and he's got partial armor, so he saves it, but he is knocked back. I think you just carry on with it actually. So we go again, but the goblin remains the aggressor, and he wins again, and he does beat the armor. Now, does he beat the toughness? Does he take him out? Let's just check what Musko's toughness is. So Musko's toughness is 3, so he's got to beat a 3. He doesn't beat a 3, so Musko he's stunned, but he's not wounded because it was a 1. So what I'm going to do, don't ask why it's a D, but I'm going to put a D next to him to denote that he's stunned. Okay, but he is going to be attacked again, because the next one's coming in, and that does mean that the other one gets a +1 on his combat. So this time Musko's got +1 on his combat. Hopefully that didn't affect before, because I don't remember it being that close, but that means it's a tie. No, Musko goes to 4, this one goes to 3, Musko wins. So Musko becomes the attacker. And that time the goblin wins, so he becomes the attacker, but that's the end of that combat. Okay, just still learning the game, so we will see whether I've got that right when I check afterwards. Now, Amalanya, not Amalanya, that's the mystic. This is Ariadne. Ariadne is going to charge in, and she is the aggressor. She's got a combat of 0 against the goblin, and these dice are not being good to me. So she then loses. She becomes the defender in the second round, but she loses the second round. She does have light armor, so she's got a 1-up save, which she fails, and she has a toughness of 3, so Ariadne unfortunately is taken out. So our first follower is down, so that didn't go well. Right, so thinking of, I'm going to try repel. This spell is called repel, and it's on a 7+, so this is her second strand. So she does cast it, so she's going to knock this goblin back d6 plus 1 inch. A mighty 2 inches, but it's better than nothing. It knocks them away. So just going to knock back into there. She's got 1 spell left. Now our pre-archer at the back there is going to shoot. It's going to be, because of the wall, 6 to hit. It's a 5, so misses. So that is the end of that turn. We had 1 from the mighty Bartholomew's bow. Do we get any that run away? We have a 1, so one of them is going to run away, and it's the nearest to their board edge, so it's going to be this one that goes, so we're 3 down. And that's the end of turn 2. We're going to move into turn 3. Okay, here we go with turn 3, and we've got 2 that are going to go, and I think one of them is going to have to be Musko, and the other one I think will have to be the boss, Paulo, and the rest will go in the slow movement phase. Oh, I actually did roll 1 too many, but we'll stick with that because we'd lost someone. Our Amalanya may have to come out of the woods and come and help fight as well, because she's only got 1 spell left. But we shall see. Right, okay, we're going to start with Paulo. So Paulo is going to charge back into this archer and see if he can do any better this time. So he's going to fight. So it's a 3 just back, 1 each, and that's the end of that combat. So Paulo is not, I hope not too many of them are watching, because he's not filling anybody with any enthusiasm. Right, so we can now take the stun off, and then we can move Musko in. Let's see if Musko can do it. Let's remember his +1 to his combat, which means it's a tie. So that's the end of that combat. Right. Come on, guys. So then it's going to be the enemies. So first of all, so they've fought. So this one's going to come round and attack here. So let's turn Paulo round, give him a bit of a chance maybe. Okay, so that's a tie. So there you go. So lots of parrying, but not much in the way of decent combat. Can we fit through here? I don't think he can fit between. We'll say he should have moved back a bit more. Yes, we'll have another combat here. So Goblin is the aggressor, and he wins. Armour save will be a 2. So he does save on a 2, because he's got partial armour. So then second round goes to the Goblin again, doesn't save this time, and is he going to take Paulo out? Paulo toughness 3. No, so Paulo is knocked back. He is wounded and stunned, so he's actually wounded this time. So I need to check whether it's if he takes 1 more wound that is then taken out. So it's not going well for Paulo. Let's see what happens with Musko at the top. So first combat there. Let's turn and face. Come on, Musko, wag your tongue, get in there. Okay, not a good start. Musko armour save. He does make the armour save. So then second round. He's actually won this one, so he now becomes the attacker. And he wins again. Can he beat the toughness? He does. He actually takes out this Goblin. So Musko has done something good. He is going to fight again though, because the next one's going to come in charging in. Right, so there we go. Right, so the Goblin is the attacker, but Musko wins, so he becomes the attacker, and then Goblin wins, so he becomes the attacker. No, that's 3, so that means that's the end of that combat. Pretty good from Musko, and now there's going to be a shot from Oscar. It's going to be a 6 again, is it? No, he can move. If we say he can go through there, he can move to here, and he's moved half, so therefore if he shoots it would be over the wall, so 3, it's a 3, but he gets -1 because he's moved, so therefore it's a 4 because it's within 6 inches and in the open, and then he misses. Right, so Amalanya is going to move up to, we don't have too much to fear from any archery. She's just going to move up at the moment. That means she can't cast, I believe. Might have to check that. And then, come on Bartholomew, you've got in the open here, outside of 6 inches, so it's going to be a 5. It's a 3, I can't believe he's missed from his perch up there, his archery perch. Right, so that is the end of that turn, so that went reasonably well. We took out 2 of the opponents. No, we didn't, we took out 1 of the opponents. But Paulo is in a bit of trouble. So let's see if any of them run away. Yes, 1 runs away. So it's going to be the nearest one to the board edge. So they've lost both their archers. So that makes things a bit better for Paulo as we move into turn 4. Okay, so moving into turn 4. So we've only got 4 of our 9 robbers left. And we've still got 5 of the party, although Paulo is staggering about a bit. So let's see if we can make sure we get at least 1, 2. Oh, we did just get 1, 2. So Paulo is going to go in the quick phase, which means he can get rid of that stun. And then the others are all going in the slow phase. So that's bad news, particularly for Musko, although he did play quite defensively and well last time. So we're going to go with Paulo first, so he's going to lose that stun. We will remember he is still wounded, so he's going to go into the nearest one, and he's going to fight as the attacker. Can he finally win a fight? No. Well done, excellent work. In that case, the goblin becomes the attacker, and that's a tie. So they both back off. We'll just leave him there. Right. It's the goblin's turn. Blue-headed goblin here is going to go in, and he is the attacker. And Paulo finally wins one as he turns around, and he's going to now become the attacker. And he wins. Now, he's got a +1 to attack the toughness, which actually Musko should have had as well, but it didn't matter. So yes, a 3 will do it, so it defeats the toughness of 3. Okay, so we've finally got a kill for the boss. Right, so up at the north end we have Musko being attacked by one of the goblins, who's the aggressor. And that is a win for Musko because he's got +1 on his combat. So Musko attacks back and wins. And can he beat? So a 6 definitely smashes. Musko is getting angry. Might have just sort of ripped out his throat there as well. As the final goblin bravely charges in and defeats his lunge. And can he beat the armour? Yes, he beats the armour. Can he beat the toughness? Oh yes, it's a 3. Now, have I been doing this right? Is it past the toughness, or is it match the toughness? I'm going to look that up. Okay, so I'm not sure whether I've made any errors on this so far, but you have to overcome the toughness. So basically what that means is he is stunned and wounded because it was a 3, which is his toughness. It would have, the toughness of 3 where he rolled a 3 against the goblin on the last one would have killed him because it was, he gets +1 with the sword. So that worked well. Let's kind of put him here so that Oscar can have a shot. So that's all the goblins. So Oscar's going to have a shot here. He's in the open because he's shooting over the wall, and he's within 6 inches, so it's a 3+. So he hits. Does it overcome the toughness? A 4 does overcome the toughness, so he takes him out. Well done, Oscar. Let's see if Bartholomew can finish things off. So Bartholomew is going to shoot on a 5. No, it's a 1. And then don't think I have a spell that is going to be effective, and she can't reach. So just going to come in closer, and let's see if this one runs away. It does. So that is the end. All of the goblins have been put to the sword or have exited the field as fast as they possibly can, and that brings us to the end of our first scenario, and that was fun. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens in the aftermath of all of that, which I will do now. The battle at the farmhouse ended rather suddenly, mostly because Ariadne stopped a goblin charge with her entire body. She went down like a felled oak, except oaks don't usually swear on the way down. For a moment things looked grim, then the Misfits collectively remembered that they are in fact armed. The goblins were dispatched with impressive efficiency and only a modest amount of shouting. The survivors fled into the fields, presumably to reconsider their life choices. Ariadne, fortunately, was still breathing, bruised, battered and unconscious, but alive, which, for a first proper skirmish in the Reach, counts as a resounding success. Inside, the Misfits found very little of value. A few broken crates, a suspicious smell, and the lingering sense that goblins should not be allowed to decorate. Then Paulo discovered a full set of well-kept armour hidden under the floorboards. Remarkably well kept, in fact, suspiciously well kept. With a few adjustments, mostly involving straps, buckles, and Paulo insisting he absolutely hasn't put on weight, it fit him perfectly. But the real curiosity lay in the cellar, a mark carved into the stone, old, intentional, and very much the sort of thing that makes sensible people leave immediately. Amalanya lingered over it longer than she admitted, which is always a good sign that something is either magical, dangerous, or both, probably both. And so, with Ariadne recovering, Paulo newly armed, and Amalanya quietly worrying everyone, the Misfits prepare for whatever the Reach throws at them next. Ideally, something that doesn't involve goblins charging at full speed.